Here's a new fact for you. Aboard the International Space Station, astronauts strap into a daily workout routine that's as much a lifeline as it is a grind, designed to fight off the relentless toll of microgravity. It starts with about 2 hours carved out of their packed schedules, split across 3 key machines. First, they hit the treadmill, strapped down with bungee cords to mimic running against Earth's pull, jogging or walking at a steady clip to keep their legs from forgetting what work feels like. Then it's onto the cycle ergometer, a stationary bike bolted to the floor, where they pedal hard to keep their heart and calves in check, no gravity needed. Finally, they tackle the Advanced Resistive Exercise Device, ARED, a beast of a contraption that uses vacuum cylinders and pistons to simulate weightlifting, squats, deadlifts, and presses to trick their muscles and bones into staying strong. The routine's relentless, 6 or 7 days a week, no weekends off, because skipping even a day lets atrophy creep in fast. They're drenched in sweat by the end, floating in a cloud of it since it doesn't drip in 0 G, and they towel off while catching their breath. It's not glamorous, and it's not fun, but it's what keeps them from crumbling when they step back onto Earth. Muscle atrophy and weakness. Without gravity to work against, astronauts' muscles, especially those in their legs, back, and core, don't get the resistance they're used to on Earth. Over time, this leads to muscle wasting, similar to what happens when someone's bedridden for too long. Even with hours of daily exercise on specially designed equipment, astronauts can lose significant muscle mass, making it tough to readjust when they return to Earth's gravity. Bone density loss. In space, bones don't bear weight like they do on the ground, so they start to break down faster than they rebuild. Calcium leaches out, leaving bones brittle and increasing the risk of fractures. Studies show astronauts can lose up to 1 to 2% of bone mass per month, especially in weight-bearing areas like the hips and spine. It's a bit like accelerated osteoporosis, and recovery after returning to Earth can take years, or sometimes never fully happen. Fluid shifts and puffy faces. On Earth, gravity pulls bodily fluids downward. In microgravity, those fluids shift upward, giving astronauts swollen faces and a constant feeling of congestion, like having a head cold. This also puts pressure on the eyes, which can mess with vision. Some astronauts report blurry sight or trouble focusing, a condition tied to something called spaceflight-associated neuroocular syndrome, SANS. It's not fully reversible in all cases. Cardiovascular deconditioning. The heart doesn't have to pump as hard in space since fluids aren't pooling in the lower body. Over time, it gets a little lazy, shrinking slightly and losing some of its efficiency. Blood volume drops too, as the body adjusts to the new normal. When astronauts get back to Earth, standing up can make them dizzy or faint because their cardiovascular system isn't ready for gravity's demands anymore. Radiation exposure. Outside Earth's protective magnetic field, astronauts are bombarded by cosmic rays and solar radiation. This ups their risk of cancer down the line. Think DNA damage that might not show up for years. A trip to Mars, for example, could expose them to radiation levels way beyond what's safe for a lifetime on Earth. It's an invisible threat, and shielding tech isn't perfect yet. Immune system suppression. Something about spaceflight, maybe the stress, radiation, or microgravity throws the immune system off balance. White blood cells don't work as well, and dormant viruses can wake up and cause trouble. It's not a full-on sickness usually, but it means astronauts are more vulnerable to infections, which is a big deal in a confined spacecraft. Sleep disruption. With no natural day-night cycle, the ISS sees a sunrise every 90 minutes, astronauts' internal clocks get scrambled. Add in the stress of the job and cramped quarters, and sleep becomes a struggle. Poor rest can lead to fatigue, irritability, and slower reaction times, stuff you really don't want when you're operating complex machinery in space. Mental health strain, isolation, confinement, and the sheer distance from Earth take a toll. Astronauts might feel lonely, anxious, or depressed, especially on long missions. The view of Earth is awe-inspiring, sure, but it can also remind them how far they are from home. Team dynamics can get tense too. Small annoyances blow up when there's nowhere to escape. Digestive slowdown. Microgravity slows down how food moves through the gut. Nutrients don't absorb as efficiently, and some astronauts deal with nausea or constipation. It's not just discomfort. Over long missions, this could mean they're not getting enough energy or vitamins to stay healthy. Risk of kidney stones. That calcium leaving the bones doesn't just disappear, it ends up in the bloodstream and urine. In space, with less fluid intake and irregular hydration dynamics, it can clump into kidney stones. Passing one in a spacecraft sounds like a nightmare, and it's a real risk doctors watch for. These effects pile up the longer someone's in space, and while NASA and other agencies have countermeasures like exercise regimens, special diets, and radiation monitoring, they're still figuring out how to fully protect astronauts, especially for deep space missions like Mars. It's a harsh environment, and the human body didn't evolve for it. And now, the best of the story. Before blasting off, astronauts endure a grueling pre-flight workout regimen that's all about building a fortress of a body to withstand space's punishing environment. Months ahead of launch, they dive into a mix of intense cardio and strength training, often at NASA's Johnson Space Center gym. They pound the treadmill, logging miles to boost endurance, their hearts racing to prep for the cardiovascular slack they'll face in orbit. Weight racks groan as they hoist barbells and dumbbells, squats, bench presses and rows, packing on muscle and bone density to buffer against microgravity's erosion. Trainers push them through circuits, sweat-soaked and relentless, mimicking the resistance they'll use on the ISS's gear. It's not just physical. Pool sessions simulate weightlessness, forcing them to move against water's drag while wearing mock gear, tuning their coordination. By launch day, they're lean, strong, and wired to fight the clock, ticking down their body's resilience up there. Every rep's a bet against collapse when they're back on solid ground. Hello, Ajamu, Akila, Alexander, Alexis, Antonio, and Amalia. Please take a moment to like and subscribe. It'll help our little channel grow. If you like, subscribe, and put your name in the comments, we can give you a shout out too.